Alright, I've got a list of my 9 most anticipated video game sequels that are supposed to come out. Let's get into it. These are in order from my most anticipated to my least, so we're going to start at number 9 with Spider-Man 2. Now, some of you probably just clicked off this video, some of you are going to look at me crazy, but listen, we just got Spider-Man 2 like 6 months ago, we just got New Game Plus, you know, we're going to be getting DLC pretty soon, I hope, and we should be getting, if it follows the same format as the first game, 3 different separate stories. They did set up Carnage and Chameleon, so maybe those two are going to be separate stories. Maybe we'll get Black Cat to return and Sable. Black Cat was in the game for one mission and Sable wasn't in here at all, so it's possible that they could return in DLC. And my reasoning for it being number 9 is pretty much that we just got this game, I'm still playing it, and we know because of the Insomniac leak a few months ago that Spider-Man 3 is supposed to come out probably around 2028, so that's far away. We don't need to be thinking about that right now. And we're supposed to get games in between that, you know, the Venom game and Wolverine coming out 2025 and 2026 respectively. And who knows, maybe we'll get another Miles Morales game or a Silk game because she was introduced. Alright, next up on the list, number 8, Control 2. So the first Control game came out in 2019. I played it in 2021. I started to play it in 2021. And for some reason, I just could not get through the game. But I finally got through it. I beat it like 2 months ago. And yeah, I'm excited for the second game. And I don't know why it took me so long to finish the game, because the game is actually really fun. It was really good and the story was pretty interesting. It might be confusing at times, it might be pretty weird, but the game was good. And the gameplay was also done really well. It's really good, really fluid, really responsive. So yeah, props to Remedy on that. They did confirm that Control 2 will be coming out. We don't know, well, at least I don't know, if Control 2 is currently in development, but we do know that for sure it's going to come out eventually. At number 7, we have God of War, whatever the next installment into the Norse saga will be. We really don't know anything about this game. I guess we technically don't even know if it's gonna come out, but of course they're gonna make a new game, let's be honest. God of War Ragnarok came out back in November of 2022, so you know, we still got some time before the next game comes out. I believe the time between Ragnarok and the first God of War 2018 was a little less than 4 years. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one, excited to see how they're gonna go forward with Kratos' story, Kratos and Atreus. I guess the next game might not even be about Kratos, it might be focused on Atreus because he did go off on his own at the end of Ragnarok, so I mean, we'll see. And I wouldn't mind if that happened. It would just mean that the next main game, the next Kratos and Atreus game, will need to be pushed back a little bit. And apparently, I forgot to mention, this Atreus game that's supposedly supposed to come out is supposed to be something similar to Spider-Man Miles Morales, where it's not exactly a full game, but it's a full game, if that makes sense. You know, it's not going to be as long as God of War 2018 or Ragnarok, but it'll be somewhere in between. If this is the case, they might not even charge $70 for it, because we saw with the Venom game in the Insomniac leak that they're charging $50 for that game because it's going to be similar to Miles Morales in principle. Alright, next up at number 6, Horizon 3, or whatever the next installment into the Horizon series will be called. This is actually one of my favorite game series to come out. For a lot of people, they don't really get the hype behind it, and I can understand it. A lot of people are tired of like these open world games, but there's something else about this game that's just different. To me, at least. When this game came out back in 2017, I didn't even play it. I didn't play it until 2021 when PlayStation dropped it for free. I remember I watched it on YouTube, you know, I didn't buy it when it came out, but when I did play it, I couldn't put the game down because I just enjoyed it so much. I have like 120 hours on the game, I believe. By the way, I haven't even mentioned which game I'm talking about. I'm talking about Zero Dawn, the first game. But regardless of that, it transfers right over to Forbidden West, because for that game, I also just played the mess out of it. I have like 80 hours on that game, played the DLCs for both games. Yeah, I just went crazy on them, man. I don't know what it is exactly about the game that just captured my attention, just took all my time, but I mean, I guess it's just the open world, the environment, the world they built in general. They did not mess around when they were working on the story for this game, the world, the lore. They didn't play. From the clans that they have down to each individual character and the most random side missions, I feel like they just put thought into everything. So yeah, for me, this is definitely one of my most anticipated sequels that are supposed to come out. We don't know exactly when it's supposed to come out, but they're gonna make another one. The time gap between Zero Dawn and Forbidden West was a little less than 5 years, so we still got a good amount of time. Forbidden West came out in 2022 in February, I believe, so yeah, still a good amount of time. Alright, at number 5, we have The Last of Us Part 3. For a lot of people, this game might be higher up on their list in terms of anticipated games, but for me, you know, Part 2, the series could end at Part 2, to be honest. That's not what I want, because there is some more to tell, I believe, to the story. But yeah, the way they ended Part 2, it could end there and I wouldn't complain. But with that being said, the way they ended the game, I think we need a part three. And I know that sounds contradictory, but come on, let's be honest. Who doesn't want part three of The Last of Us? This is one of the best video game series to come out, one of the biggest series, especially with the show that came out recently. No matter what you think of part two, you can't deny that. So yeah, I think we need a part three at some point down the line. And if we don't get a continuation of Ellie's story, then I think we for sure need a game of Joel and Tommy with those 20 years after the outbreak. Part 2 came out back in June of 2020. You know, we're coming up on 4 years, and 4 years after Part 1 came out, we had a trailer, I believe, for Part 2. So, we're getting there. If they're going to make another game, then they should probably say something about it. Drop some teaser, some trailer for it. Neil Druckmann did say that he wants to make a good, compelling story, and if they can't do that, then they won't make a Part 3. But he did also say that he kind of wrote something for Part 3. I don't remember exactly what it was. Don't believe it was a full script, but it was something. At number 4, we got Tomb Raider, the next installment into the Tomb Raider franchise. We know this game is being made by Crystal Dynamics, the same people that made the last trilogy, the Survivor trilogy, and it's being published by Amazon Games. It was revealed it was in development in like 2022. We haven't really heard anything since then. I'm hoping we hear something by the end of this year, because I've been really looking forward to the next installment, the next trilogy, I guess we could call it. I played and finished all 3 games, loved every single one of them, and I've been waiting for a new game to come out. Tomb Raider, the first game in the Survivor trilogy, came out back in 2013. 11 years ago, man. Rise of the Tomb Raider came out in 2015, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider came out in 2018. So, we've been waiting a long time. This is a whole new series, a whole new trilogy that they're starting to make, so I get why it's taking this long, and they are using Unreal Engine, that's a powerful engine, man. Unreal Engine 5, I should probably specify, and that's going to make the graphics look way better than they already were. The environment, I'm assuming, is going to be a good amount destructible since it's using Unreal Engine. Yeah, again, hopefully we hear something by the end of this year, because then that means we're going to go 7 years without a Tomb Raider game. It's pretty crazy. At number 3, we have Cyberpunk 2, or codenamed Orion. Cyberpunk, despite its terrible launch, probably the worst launch in gaming history, made a huge comeback. This game is one of my favorite games of all time. It went from having the worst launch to having the best comeback in gaming history, in my opinion. I know a lot of people say No Man's Sky did it better, but I don't know, man. This is the worst game, the worst launch of a game ever. They had a vision, but they just needed more time. And if they were given that time, we would have gotten the game that we have now at launch. They put so much time and effort into fixing the bugs and issues with the game. They kept updating it, and they still do it to this day. Phantom Liberty came out last year in September. One of the best DLCs, expansions that I've ever played. Actually, it is the best expansion that I've ever played. That could have been a solo game in itself. Yeah, it was shorter than the main game, of course, but with the story, how well they approached it, it was so well done. Like, they called it a spy thriller and all the promotional stuff, and they were not kidding. I didn't know who to trust in the game. I did not know. And the comeback didn't really even start with Phantom Liberty. It kind of started with the Edgerunners anime when it came out back in September of 2022, so a year before Phantom Liberty came out. After the anime dropped, the game blew up. People hopped back on after, dropping the game or just completing it and not playing it again, and it just went uphill from there. Like I said before, they had a vision and they did it so well. The worlds they built, the lore, all of it is just so intriguing. It's one of the best fictional worlds that I've ever seen. Everything is just so captivating, especially the characters. Like, the side characters, the most random side characters are just so intriguing. They're so interesting. They're cool. So yeah, they failed with Cyberpunk 2077 in the beginning, then made a huge comeback, the best comeback ever. So, they have the layout, the blueprint. Hopefully with this next game, the sequel, everything goes smoothly from the jump. We know the next game isn't going to come out for a while, because CD Projekt Red's next game is going to be The Witcher 4, and yeah, that's probably not coming out for a while also. I estimate at least another 7 years before Cyberpunk 2, whatever they'll call it, comes out. Though they did open a new studio in Boston, I believe, so it might be less than 7 years. Maybe one team is going to be working on The Witcher 4 and then another team on Cyberpunk 2, Orion. Hope we don't have to wait too long for this game. I know we're going to be waiting a long time, but hopefully it's not crazy long. But, again, they should take their time, make this game the best it could be as soon as it comes out. And if I'm not mistaken, CD Projekt Red did say that they're going to be using a new engine for the next Cyberpunk game. They're going to get rid of their old one because it's pretty outdated now. So yeah, that's going to make the game even better. Imagine Cyberpunk with Unreal Engine, man. That would be just insane. Alright, then number 2, Mass Effect 4/5/ whatever they're gonna call the next game. It has been 7 years since Mass Effect Andromeda came out, and I didn't finish the game yet. I still have not finished the game yet. I bought it like a few months ago. The game, it's not the same, man. Once you play that first trilogy, you are not the same person. Then you go to Andromeda, and it's just like, I know we won't ever get an exact like replica of that trilogy, but I wanted to get as close to it as it could. Again, with this game, the world they built, the characters, everything, the choices you're able to make and how they impact the story is just, it's incredible, man. We know that they're going to be dropping another game eventually, but the next game that's coming out is Dragon Age something. I don't remember what it's called, but the next Dragon Age game, and Mass Effect has barely started development. So if Andromeda came out 7 years ago, the next Mass Effect has barely started development. It's still in like pre-production. We're not going to see this game for like another 7 years. The jump from Mass Effect 3 to Mass Effect Andromeda was about 5 years. And now it's been 7 years since we've even gotten another game. So just use that logic. Like, it's actually crazy to think that a new Mass Effect game might take longer to make than GTA 6. And speaking of GTA 6, at number 1, we got GTA 6. What did you think would be number 1, huh? Anything other than Grand Theft Auto 6 would have been completely wrong. This is the most anticipated game of all time. The biggest game that will ever come out. Whether it fails or not, it will be the biggest game to ever come out. This game will have been in development for 12 years by the time it comes out next year. If it comes out next year, hopefully it doesn't get delayed. It should not get delayed because, again, 12 years. We went so long without seeing anything for this game. We just had speculation. That was it. And then in 2022, September 2022, we had that leak, that massive leak. And then finally last year, at the end of the year, we got a trailer for it, the first trailer. And like, what do I have to say about this game? I really don't have to say anything because it's like everybody's most anticipated game. It's GTA 6.